We all chase normal like it's a prize. Dress normal, act normal, think normal. But here's the joke. Normal doesn't exist. It's a moving target, invented to make you question yourself. Once, normal meant believing the sun orbited the earth. Then it meant smoking at parties. Now it means scrolling yourself to death on a glowing rectangle. Normal is just peer pressure with better branding. And yet, nothing terrifies us more than being different. Different is dangerous. Different is lonely. Different is the crack in the mask where people might see who you really are. This video is about the myth of normal, how it was built, why we cling to it, and what happens when you stop treating it like a rulebook and start treating it like a prison. Number 9. Normal didn't start as fashion, it started as survival. For early humans, standing out was risky business. Wear the wrong color fur, wander too far from the tribe, or act too strangely, and you might end up as dinner for something with sharper teeth. Fitting in wasn't about self-esteem, it was about staying alive. If everyone ran at the sight of rustling grass, you ran too because the one person who didn't might become the cautionary tale. Normal was group instinct, sharpened by fear. But here's the twist. The same instinct that kept us alive also caged us. The tribe punished those who broke the script. Shamans were tolerated, but too much weird and you were cast out. In a world without Wi-Fi or Uber Eats, exile was a death sentence. That survival coding still hums in us today. Your brain equates disapproval with danger. A side-eye from a stranger feels like rustling grass. You react as if your life depends on it. So, while we laugh at caveman logic, we're still running from rustles. Normal was once about dodging predators, now it's about dodging judgment. The wild has changed, but the instinct hasn't. Number 8. Once humans learned how to farm, build cities, and make rules, normal stopped being about survival and started being about control. Rulers, priests, and elders figured out a clever trick. If you define what's normal, you don't need chains, you've got obedience baked in. Ancient laws dictated who you could marry, what clothes you wore, even what hand you used to write. Step outside those lines, and you weren't just different, you were dangerous. The beauty of this system was that it made people police themselves. You didn't need guards on every corner, shame did the job for free. The fear of whispers, side-eyes, or exile was often stronger than any punishment. Fast forward to now, the script hasn't changed, just the props. Normal says work a 9 to 5, buy a house you can't afford, smile in photos even when you're miserable. Anyone who doesn't fit too loud, too quiet, too poor, too rich is shoved back into line. Normal is the velvet rope at the club of society. The trick, most people don't realize the rope isn't locked, it's just there to keep you from asking if you even want in. Number 7. Here's the strangest part. Normal doesn't actually exist. It's a math trick, an average. Take a group of people, measure them, and draw a line through the middle. That's it, the average human is a ghost, stitched together from fragments, a Frankenstein no one has ever met. Psychologists call it the tyranny of the average. Schools were built around it, the average student, the normal learner. Medicine too, the average patient, as if bodies don't come in billions of variations. Even shoe companies design sizes based on averages that don't really fit anyone perfectly. But here's the poison hidden in the math. Once average was invented, people started believing it was real. And if average was real, then being above or below it meant you were abnormal. Suddenly, uniqueness was rebranded as a flaw. The irony, every breakthrough, every genius, every revolution came from people who didn't fit the curve. The outliers, the ones teachers labeled as problem students or neighbors whispered about as odd. So the next time someone says just be normal, remember, they're asking you to conform to a ghost. A ghost invented by statisticians, adopted by society, and weaponized against difference. Number 6. If average is a ghost, then rejection is the monster under its sheet. Humans fear being different not because it hurts, but because it isolates. Exile has always been our deepest punishment. Think about it. Prison isn't just about bars, it's about separation. Cancel culture today, same instinct. Being cut off from the group feels like a death sentence to a brain wired for tribes. Loneliness doesn't just sting, it activates the same pain centers as physical injury. Your nervous system treats rejection like being stabbed. That's why we dress, talk, and even think to match the group. Teens buy the same sneakers, adults repeat the same small talk at work, families follow traditions they secretly dislike. Not because it's meaningful, but because the cost of being the odd one out feels unbearable. The cruel part, rejection doesn't even have to happen. The threat of it is enough. A raised eyebrow, a pause too long in conversation, a few likes missing from a post, and suddenly you're spiraling. So yes, fear of rejection keeps society glued together. But it also keeps individuals from ever discovering who they really are. We stay normal not because it's safe, but because we're terrified of being alone in the dark. Number 5. The cruel joke about normal is that it never stays still. What was normal yesterday becomes scandalous today, and what's taboo now will be perfectly ordinary tomorrow. Consider this. In Victorian England, table legs were covered because showing them was indecent. Fast forward a century, and miniskirts walked down runways. Smoking used to be the height of sophistication. Now it's practically social exile. Tattoos once marked criminals. Today, CEOs flaunt them on Instagram. Normal shifts because it's not truth, it's fashion. It's the collective mood of society, dressed up as morality. But here's the trap. People sacrifice their authenticity to chase this moving target, only to find the target moved again. It's like playing a rigged carnival game. You win a stuffed bear, but the prize booth closes before you reach it. You never actually arrive at normal, you just keep running, adjusting, performing. The tragedy, by the time you realize the finish line doesn't exist, you've spent years editing yourself into something unrecognizable. So when someone says, just be normal, they're really saying, chase a shadow that's already gone. The truth is, there's no stable definition of normal, only a constant shifting stage where the rules change every act. Number 4. For many of us, normal isn't an aspiration, it's a sedative. It's the warm blanket that says, don't worry, you're just like everyone else. Normal is safety, routine, predictability. It's Monday morning coffee, the same route to work, the same polite smile to strangers you'll never meet again. The comfort feels good, but it's also a cage padded with soft walls. Step outside it, and suddenly the air feels thin. Speak too boldly, dress too strangely, take a risk that doesn't fit the script, and people look at you like you've broken an invisible law. The comfort zone turns into a leash disguised as a hug. The irony, growth never happens inside normal. Comfort zones protect us, but they also suffocate us. Ask anyone who's achieved something remarkable: artists, scientists, leaders. None of them stayed within normal's walls. They pushed, stumbled, failed, and terrified themselves. Yet our brains trick us. They say, better bored than rejected, better predictable than alive. And so we settle, mistaking sedation for satisfaction. Normal as comfort is seductive, but it's also the slowest poison. It keeps you safe right up until you realize safe and alive are not the same thing. Number 3. Here's the trick. Normal gives us the illusion that the world makes sense. Chaos is terrifying, so we invent routines, rules, and patterns to pretend we're in control. Think about superstition, knocking on wood, avoiding the number 13, or wearing lucky socks. These rituals aren't logical. They're comfort theater. They make the unpredictable feel predictable. Society works the same way. If everyone acts normal, then the world feels stable, even if it's not. But the illusion comes at a cost. To maintain the script, people suppress anything that doesn't fit: wild ideas, unconventional desires, messy emotions. You edit yourself into a cardboard cutout because chaos must be avoided at all costs. The irony, real control doesn't come from being normal. It comes from embracing difference, adapting to uncertainty, and creating new paths when old ones collapse. Yet most of us cling to the mask of normal like it's a seatbelt, when really it's just a blindfold. So yes, normal feels like control, but it's fake control, a stage prop that keeps us calm while the universe laughs backstage. Number 2. Every masterpiece begins as something not normal. Fire was strange, writing was heresy, airplanes, madness. Almost every creative leap first looked like a mistake, an embarrassment, or a crime against common sense. But here's the problem. Society worships creativity while rewarding conformity. Schools teach think outside the box, then punish kids who color outside the lines. Workplaces say they want innovation, then hire people who blend in. Normal isn't just the enemy of creativity, it's the filter that strangles it in the crib. Why? Because creativity is risky. It challenges what people call safe. A new idea might fail, make others uncomfortable, or worse, expose the fragility of what we thought was true. Normal avoids that discomfort by stomping out sparks before they catch fire. Yet look closer. Every cultural explosion, art, music, technology was born from the weirdos, the misfits, the outliers. The very people mocked for being abnormal are the ones who later define a new normal. So when you fear standing out, remember, normal isn't just safe, it's sterile. Creativity doesn't live there. It's outside, in the wilderness, where being different isn't a flaw, but the fuel for everything extraordinary. Number 1. Here's the final twist. Normal isn't just survival instinct, social control, or comfort. It's the greatest lie humans ever told themselves. Normal says there's a standard way to live, love, think, and dream. But look closer, every standard is a story, rewritten every generation. Yesterday's sins are today's freedoms. Yesterday's freaks are today's influences. Normal is nothing but a costume, and the seams are always showing. The danger isn't in being different, it's in believing the lie. Because once you swallow normal, you spend your life editing yourself, trimming the edges, sanding down the colors. You become a photocopy of someone else's idea of safety. But the truth, there is no normal, there never was. There's only messy, unpredictable humanity, millions of strange lives colliding, contradicting, creating. The myth of normal blinds us to the fact that difference is not the exception, it's the rule. So the next time someone tells you to act normal, remember, they're asking you to disappear into a lie. And the most radical thing you can do is refuse. So here's the truth. Normal is a ghost we keep chasing, a mask we keep wearing, and a prison we keep decorating. It was born from fear, polished by society, and sold to us as safety. But underneath, it's still just a lie. The people who change the world are never normal. They're the ones who refuse the script, break the pattern, and step into the unknown. Difference isn't a weakness, it's the birthplace of every revolution, every masterpiece, every leap forward. So the question is, will you keep hiding in normal, or will you dare to be the thing it fears most, yourself? If this video cracked the mask a little, hit like, subscribe, and stay tuned. Because the next story we tell might just rewrite what you think normal means.